Hello and welcome back to solving quadratic equations. In this video, we're actually going to start doing some math. Yay! But before we start off, I want to talk about something that's called the zero property. Now, this sounds a little scary, but it's not honestly. And this basically means that if I have a number, any number in the world, and I multiply it by zero, I'm going to get zero, right? Any number, so I'm going to write it here. Alright, it's getting any number multiplied by zero will always, and I'm going to highlight always because I mean literally always, be zero, okay? So this is something that we have to keep in mind. So right here, we have that we are solving factored form equations, okay? So with our number one, this is factored form because I have it in parentheses like this. So when I'm trying to find the roots of my equation, I'm trying to figure out what the heck will make this thing zero. And by that I mean, what x can I plug in here that's going to give me zero, okay? So let's go back to our factored form property. So I have this binomial multiplying, let me use a different color, with this binomial. So I have two things that are multiplying together. Well, let's remember our our zero property. If I can make this whole thing zero right here, then automatically I'm going to get a zero right here. And it doesn't matter what this guy is because anything times zero gives me zero, okay? So I'm going to focus on this guy. And I'm going to say x minus 1 equals 0 because I want it to equal 0, right? There's two ways to think about this. You can either say I'm on a number line and I'm at -1 and I want to get to 0. What do I do to get from -1 to 0? Well, you're going to have to do a +1. So you could say my answer is +1. Or if you're more of an algebraic person like me, you're going to have to move this equation around a little bit. So right here, I want to get x by itself. I have this 1 right here that's bugging it. To get rid of it, I have to look at what it's doing. And I see that it is subtracting here. Well, to move it over, I have to do the opposite. The opposite of subtracting is adding. And I'm adding to get the 1 away. But what I do to one side, I have to do to the other side of the equal sign. So right here I have -1 plus 1, and that gives me a 0. I get to bring down my x, and I get 1, okay? So that is my first solution. We're not done yet. Because what happens instead of this guy being 0? What if I make this guy equal to 0? That's still going to work because if this guy is 0, then anything times 0 will give me a 0, okay? So I have to do the same thing. I have to go x minus 3. I want it to equal to 0. Well, I'm going to use my algebraic equation again. I want to solve for x. I have this 3 that's making it be with a buddy. This 3 is subtracting, so to get rid of it, I have to do the opposite and add. So +3 and +3 over here. These cross out because 3 minus 3 is 0. I bring down my x, and 0 plus 3 is 3. So these are my two answers, okay? So the way I would draw this is that x equals 1, which is maybe like right here, and x equals 3. So maybe I'll do this. This is 1, this is 2, and this is 3, right? And it's probably going something like this, just as a guess, right? But all I know is that it is intersecting right through those roots right there. Okay, so let's go ahead and try the second one out. So, same thing. I want to figure out what's going to make this whole thing equal to 0. Because anywhere where it's equal to 0, it's going to be a root, okay? So I'm going to take apart my two guys. And now I'm going to remember that as long as one of these guys is 0, since they are multiplying, it will automatically become 0. So x plus 1 equals 0, and x minus 3 equals 0. I want to get x by itself, so I'm going to focus on this side. I have this plus 1. In order to get rid of it, I have to do the opposite of adding, which is subtracting. So I'm going to do minus 1, crosses out right here. So what I'm left over on this side is an x. I bring down my equal sign. And now I have 0 minus 1. 0 minus 1 is a negative 1. And that is my first answer. Over here, I'm going to do the same thing. I need to get x by itself. I have this 3, and it is subtracting. So I have to do the opposite and add 3. But what I do to one side, I have to do to the other side. 3 minus 3 is 0. So my x comes down. And 0 plus 3 is 3. So these are my two answers. So if I were to draw this out, I'm going to go to my graph over here. Negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, 1, 2, and 3. So it looks something like this. One root is at 3. Another one's at negative 1. So this parabola is a little bit of fatty. And maybe it's going something like this. So that is the gist of it. If you want, go ahead and try the other ones out. And if not, then jump out to Delta Math.